That's right. That's how we do it here.
All right, we're live.
So anyhow, that's when we realized Chuck didn't have on any pants.
Do I sound okay?
Oh, hi everyone.
Am I sounding
You
okay?
look a little funny, but you sound
Yeah,
okay.
my
you're in
lighting
that
is
nice spiffy suit in that box.
Yeah, I feel like I should have dressed better.
Spiffy suit. What are you talking about?
You know, just be glad that
Oh.
I dressed.
Oh, video.
We are.
How do we know that you did?
There you go.
Ooh, good question.
What you know is that either I'm wearing clothes or I have an AI system that can make it appear as if I'm wearing clothes. And practically speaking, there's no difference.
If you have an AI system that can make it appear that you're wearing clothes, there are better things to do with that AI system.
Are you sure? I mean, have you seen
No.
me naked?
Oh my gosh.
No, just for the record, no.
Okay,
I
okay.
and under
And
no
now
circumstances.
we're going to lose all our viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not even going to take a drink. It's just...
Yeah, because you know somebody's going to crack a joke and it's going to go everywhere.
Yeah. Boy, I do
All
like
right,
that. I
that's
made
two out, man.
Yeah, what's
you
going
know,
on
to
with my
say that you
lighting
go
here?
places without your phone and it freaks everybody out. I don't know.
That's like, yeah, it freaks everyone out.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
I understand if the phone battery's dead. That's kind of like going without your phone. But I still have it, hoping that I can find power.
no, I always said that Apple got me addicted to my phone and then they gave me a watch to get me unaddicted to my phone. So I could not have it with me every moment of the day and have my watch with me instead. I'm like,
There.
okay, cool.
I look better now?
Well, yeah, sure.
It's kind of have a spider eye kind of look to it.
That was nice, Jill. That was a real vote of confidence there.
Well, he's little, you know, because he's in the box with
Yeah,
everybody.
he's tiny.
Oh, no, I don't look so red.
Dave's the host in the box. Buried in his show.
All right.
I'm just about getting my voice back.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds better, Marty.
Wow.
Still, best part of Mac Voices on Tuesday was you saying I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Still has,
Oh,
it still
that
has
was good too.
That was that was
That's the good stuff right there.
When I get sick, I sound like Kathleen Turner. And then I go to Bill Clinton.
So do I.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Old Kathleen Turner or young
Old.
Kathleen Turner?
The 80s Kathleen Turner. Yeah. And then I go to Bill
Oh,
Clinton.
okay.
And then
I was thinking
Sean
old,
Connery.
I guess you were too, Marty.
Recording in progress.
Cubs just won the ball game.
Yes.
Yes. All right, now we can get started.
Okay.
Wait, we're talking about bears
Everybody
again?
sing the song.
Go, Cubs,
you gotta sing the
Go
song.
Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go!
Hey, you got 3 Cub
Hey,
fans here.
Chicago, what do you say?
That was done by
Won the
Steve
series
Goodman.
today.
Yes, it was. The W flag is flying.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, here we go. Sorry, everybody else.
Ben, you made up that song on the spot, right?
No, he did. They're singing it right now.
Seriously? Because
Steve Goodman.
it was good for made up on the spot.
It wasn't. Go Google it.
But if that's like really the song, someone phoned it in.
All right,
No.
here we go.
I could have come up with that, and I don't even watch the game.
Oh, Brian just said he saw the bat signal.
Nice.
I hear my neighbors going, woo. All right, here we go.
Yeah, now they're switching to Yankee Stadium where we hope like both teams lose if that's possible.
I mean, it happened with the Packers game.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, true enough.
All right, sorry.
Keep trying,
Right.
Dave. You'll get it.
I'll get it.
No
There we
more
go.
distractions.
I'm done now. 5, 4, 3, 2, Welcome to episode 389 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, Mac, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. And we are our full panel this week. Joe McKinley is joining us. How you doing, Joe?
Oh, I'm doing great. My integration went live, so I'm finally not exhausted during the show.
That's good. And Ben Roethig has put the W flag up because as we were recording this, the Chicago Cubs just won their first round in the playoffs, moving on to the National League Division Series. How you doing, Ben?
A little stressed. They did not make it easy.
No, they did. They did not. And Marty Jencius is also a Cub fan. He's excited as like I am. I'm glad you're here, Marty. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. It was a lousy day, and then two great things happened right at the same time. We started the show,
yes,
and we got to watch the Cubs win.
We did. So,
and they're related.
And they are. And Eric Bolden is here. What do you got behind you this week? You got some bugs, or I can't tell.
Yeah,
How you doing,
I
Eric?
got a bumblebee coming in for a landing on the flower. Sort of tentative. Not sure that it'll hold its weight, but trying anyway.
All right. And Chuck Jr., glad to have you back. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing good. I was desperately trying to figure out some smart comment to make about the big W behind Ben's head, but I couldn't come up with anything, so I'm just going to let it go.
All right. Maybe Jeff can come up with something. How you doing, Jeff Gamet?
I'm doing great. And based on Ben's reaction to the game thing stuff, I'm guessing the W means, what do you mean we won?
Oh,
You're not wrong.
You aren't wrong.
You're not wrong.
That is true. All right. So we've got good amount of stuff to talk about this week. Vision Pro, Mac, beta, if there is any beta, and all kinds of other things. But let's go ahead and start off with a little bit of Vision Pro discussion. They did release the update to those who are not on beta, 26.0.1 to Vision OS. It just has some security fixes. The impact was processing a maliciously crafted font that may lead to unexpected app termination or corrupt process memory. So it's basically nothing really anybody is too over concerned about, other than it's a security update. Okay, so
It was Papyrus, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was the font.
pretty easy to sum that up. There, the font, yeah, it probably was. This is a horrible font. So I don't think anything else much to say about it. But just, if you are running 26.0, make sure you update to 26.01. We're still on beta 26.1. We still don't know anything about it. But that's where we are on beta for the Vision Pro at the moment. A couple other interesting stories. Whoops, the FCC accidentally leaks Apple's next Vision Pro, and has the FCC has seemingly confirmed Apple's work on an updated version of the Vision Pro headset. One of the several documents the FCC shared today was references to the Apple's designed head-mounted device with a model number of A3416 and includes image confirms the device is a Vision Pro. It looks pretty obvious to the image in the article here. According to the rumors, it's working on a refreshed version of the Vision Pro that has a faster M5 chip. The headset isn't expected feature design updates, with simply just updating from the M2 chip to newer, which is more compatible M series chip. And the updated Vision Pro could launch before the end of the year, which would likely continue to cost. I'm not even going to tell you. Everybody knows how much it costs. I don't have to say anything. Whoops. Why? I never heard the FCC of all places to be leaking something. What do you think, Marty?
I think that the government is all concerned about China stealing our secrets.
Yeah.
And the way they solved that problem was basically to give them away.
They are Apple secrets, which is a United States company.
I know. I think Apple should sue the government on this kind of stuff. But that's me. I don't mean to get political.
I'm not going there. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to. Eric, any thoughts on this?
Well, I'm glad to see a new Vision Pro coming out, and especially given some of the other news about other things changing.
Yeah.
The current one is nice. This is just icing on the cake. I'm glad it's just a few tweaks here and there because I'm happy with the current version. I just want a little extra speed and a little extra performance and some better battery, and we might actually get that. As far as the leaks, I figure if you stir up all of government and eliminate a whole pile of positions and do all kinds of other stuff, then you end up with mistakes, and there are going to be mistakes all over the place. This is just an example of it.
Yep. Jeff, anything you want to add about this with why the FCC did such a thing?
Eric did a really great job of summing it up.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is not the only leak of Apple information recently from the FCC.
Right.
So yeah, the problem isn't malicious. It's that we don't have enough people for the jobs.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, they're just overworked. So yeah, this was an error, and I won't go so far as to say incompetence, but this is just an error. It was not a malicious act.
Yeah. Anything you wanted to add, Chuck?
I think Jeff and I may disagree just a little bit. I don't think it was a malicious act. I think it was sloppy.
Yeah.
It's definitely sloppy. Absolutely.
Yeah, and maybe it was
error.
because maybe it was. Yes, absolutely an error. But how many? I think it was Marty said, how many times can this kind of thing happen before somebody needs to be held accountable? Because these are after all trade secrets.
Yep.
Right.
And if this were in private industry, somebody'd be suing the pants off of somebody else.
Well, they can still be sued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's true. Ben, I'm sorry, I forgot you. Of course. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, you messed up when 5 product documents with confidential do not release on it are leaked. I mean, literally between the FCC and Russian YouTubers, we know everything that's Apple's going to be releasing for the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, we see it on all the rumor sites because we follow like Mac Rumors, 9 to 5 Mac, et cetera, et cetera. So you kind of hear about it, but when it comes from an official agency like this, it kind of concerns me just a bit. So let's also talk a little bit about Apple's, from what's being heard. Mark Gurman broke this on Bloomberg that it's going to be shelving its revamped headset to prioritize Meta-like AI glasses. They have hit the pause and planned overhaul of its Vision Pro headsets and redirected resources towards a more urgent effort to developing smart glasses that can rival products like from Meta platforms. The company has been preparing for a cheaper, lighter variant of its headset, codename N100, good name, but it's not going to be released till 2027, so we're like 2 years away here. But Apple did announce internally last week that it's moving staff from that project to accelerate work on the glasses. And as you know, the disclaimer, according to people with the acknowledgement of the matter. I always like that line. So he goes on and on about, where we're going to be with this. And I'd be excited to see when that comes out. I mean, I know, Marty, you've tried, I have not tried it, but the first gen of the Meta glasses, they seem to be pretty cool. And have you tried them lately?
Each time, and I did a pro note on this, which will be part of tomorrow. I talk about exactly what you're asking with the Meta glasses. Mm-hmm. Each time a new pair of Meta glasses comes out, I look to see, okay, so what's the new function that would make me want to purchase, going from 0.1 or 1.0 to 2.0 or whatever you want to call it. Right. There are no new functions. There's nothing new that it does. Right. Maybe does a few things better, but nothing new that's going to compel me to buy new glasses. So the issue I have with this article is it's all this article and other articles, because as soon as this article came out, it was picked up and it sucked up all the oxygen in the Vision Pro arena. But it's like Gurman's trying to write it like we're in a fight with Meta. And Meta's currently winning, and we're changing it because Meta is ahead and we really want this to happen. They could have pulled all those people off Vision the Vision Pro project because they've completed Vision Pro 1.x or whatever you want to call it, the new version that's going to come out with the chips, with the advanced chips in it. And now and those things are ready to move. They're in production or whatever. And now they're going to put them to focus on the glasses, which pushes Vision Pro 2 back behind the glasses in terms of a timeline. Yeah, it just seems sort of like a logical move. It doesn't seem like this is any mysterious or issue because there's a problem at Apple. But the Germaniacs like to stir up.
He loves that. That's been his new one for a while, Jeff.
That's the
yeah.
first time I've heard it.
It's like Animaniacs. They live in the tower at Warner Brothers.
And
a
they're
show
zany
title.
to the max.
Yeah,
Have
To
bologna in their
the
slacks.
Germaniacs.
But the Germaniacs like to turn this into intrigue, and just tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Thoughts, Eric?
Yeah, I guess let's just make it lighter weight somehow never really made sense to me anyway. So yeah, it might come out, but an improved Vision Pro, that's going to last for a couple of years, so that's fine. I guess the concentrating more on smart glasses, to me, that means that there's a greater chance that all of the S-Lady work, all the AI work is going to actually produce something because they're going to need that functioning to have glasses be worthwhile. So I see it as encouraging all the way around.
Okay. Anybody else want anything about this?
Well, I'll be the dissenting voice, I guess, is that I was interested in an Air and I'm not interested in glasses. And I think the whole thing is creepy that people are going to walk around with glasses. And I don't, like I said, it's not that I don't want glasses. I don't want anyone else to have glasses either. But I would have been interested in an Air because I just can't bring myself to pay $3,000 for a Pro. But so now I'm not interested either. Unfortunately, that kind of runs me out of the market, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. The fact that Gurman, who is connected as he is reporting this, I am more than a bit concerned. Look, to me, right now, in the best case, the glasses are basically an AR version of an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
They're going to give you more kind of the easy notifications kind of right on your face instead of having to get out your phone. Bringing spatial computing to the masses is what Apple should be focusing on, because I have seen, all my niece and nephew's friends have Meta Quests. How many of them have or want Meta glasses? Not many.
Mm-mm.
The Meta glasses, I think, was far better received in the tech reporter sphere than it was for the average person.
Yep. Chuck, anything on that?
Yeah, I hear what you all are saying. First of all, Apple hasn't confirmed this as if they were ever going to.
Right.
But the second thing is I'm a little surprised to hear some of you dismiss one product or the other because they don't exist yet. And so until you see them and what they're capable of, why would you dismiss out of hand? That's, I'm back to the same old song I sing. When it hits this, when I can actually go and put down cash and buy it, then I'll evaluate its needs. But until then, this just feels like a lot more smoke and not a lot of fire. And there may be fire under it, because Gurman does have a pretty good track record. As Ben said, he's pretty connected. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that it's absolutely true.
Yeah. All right. Let's before we move on, I want to give a shout out to our the folks in our chat at youtube.com/intouchableios. We have Witherbucket, Brian F. made of pyramids, and there's a number of others in the chat as well. thanks for being here this week, and enjoy talking to us live as we do the show. You could do that anytime, every week, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thanks. I appreciate being here. So lastly, I want to talk a little bit about in 6 colors. We know Jason Snell, a very, very well-known Apple pundit, and he's been very positive about the Vision Pro, and he did a really, really good review about, and it's entitled "Keep Moving Towards the Future." And it's a pretty lengthy article. It's good detailed stuff. I think is some of the things that we've gone through. He did go through a couple of enhancements. So I'll just give a couple of notable ones. The look to scroll, which I think is really a cool thing. I'm still trying to get used to it myself. I'll ask Marty and Eric in just a minute here. And then the pass-through support improved by iPhones and game controllers. The ability to bring iPad OS apps into Vision OS is power, but still restricts some things with that. But some of the criticisms would be including some of the features are processing slowly, like the environments, I think is a good one thing he pointed out. As well, this pass-through support is very inconsistent. The iPad app integration is promising, but it's constrained by old aspect rules. But I guess the bottom line is that he does say, well, you know what, go ahead. I'm going to go back to Marty first and what you think of some of those criticisms and some of the enhancements that Jason had mentioned.
I like Jason Snell's take on this. Since it came out, he's been kind of a reasonable, rational.
Yep.
But he has some significant suggestions that I think are important. This is a really kind of nice love letter to Apple in terms of the Vision Pro at the time it is now in corporation with Vision OS 26.
Right.
And he ties that well together. I don't use, his concerns about environments rolling out quicker and things like that. I don't use environments. So, I have to, from a personal standpoint, I have to say that doesn't pull me in. The thing with the controllers is something that Daniel talked about with us on Vision Profiles a couple of weeks ago or last week. And I think that's slow to happen. And I know I see Ben nodding. And I think for gamers, it'd be nice if they could step that relationship up in order to have more better relationship with game controllers that are interfacing with the Vision Pro.
And not just gamers, anyone who needs more precise control.
Right.
Yeah. So I think his concerns are not unfounded, but I also think they're not device killers either. So I think that's why I see him being very rational about places where things could grow with this device.
Okay. Eric, what did you think of some of those I had read off here with the environments? I guess probably one thing. I use environments. I think they're cool.
Yeah. And partial environments.
Right.
I mean, you can roll out an environment just right in your immediate field of view, but keep everything else open on the sides. I find that just really useful, especially if you need to do like screenshots or something. You get a nice clean screenshot with no interference from whatever clutter you have. I think the point that I most appreciated is that Apple continues to make improvements in Vision OS. Every update, every change, things get a little bit better, a couple more features, the features get more fine-tuned. I see that as a really good sign. And I appreciate most of the updates and changes. Personally, I think I'm really enjoying widgets because it really does make you feel like it's your space. You can like tweak things, add a clock, whatever, hang a picture up.
Yep, for sure. I don't think anybody's going to have much thoughts on those since you don't know what we're talking about probably because you've never really had much time with the Vision Pro. But
but I'll just give one little thought here.
Yeah, on the gamer part.
I mean, this we're still in platform building. Apple knows they're at a point where the technology isn't feasible yet to make this a mainstream product. So they're still rolling out stuff, still building, still working with kind of the high-end customers to see what they want. And the platform will get there. It's just kind of going back to Mac 1.0 days.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So just to sum this up, the bottom line really was, he said Vision OS 26 is a solid confidence building update. And it doesn't solve all of Apple's challenges, but in this space, but the improvements, particularly geographic persistence, spatial personas, widget anchoring, and the meaningful steps forward, the platform still has long road ahead, but the version reinforces that Apple is serious about iterating and building towards a future which is AR, VR, eyewear, and is a seamless and deeply integrated. I agree with a lot of things that he had said on that summary. So, anybody else have any thoughts on this before we move on? All right. So
It's already been said.
Yep, I think we did. So, all right, so let's go on to beta this week. Well, beta 26.1 across the platforms is still going on. So we won't be much to talk about that, but I want to make sure I tell everybody about those who are on iOS 26 that iOS 26.0.1 came out with fixes to Wi-Fi, cellular, and camera issues on the iPhone 17 models. These were the first updates for iOS 26, iPadOS 26. Of course, you can go into the software updates and get that right away, but it does address some bugs that could cause some aberrations in photos occurring with the iPhone Air and the iPhone 17 Pro models. It also fixes ongoing cellular and Wi-Fi issues that the iPhone 17 owners have been dealing with, and addresses a bug with tinted icons. And there was a whole long list of some of the things that Apple said, including a small number of iPhone users that weren't able to connect to a cellular network after updating to iOS 26. And through all of the number of things here, as well as it did update some fixes with the same voiceover issue that was addressing a bug that could be caused the floating keyboard to change positions unexpectedly. Oops. So good idea to go ahead and update this. Any iPhone user, if you're running to iOS 26, it does have some bug releases as well. If you're still on iOS 18, 18.1, the 18.7.1 update was also released. Did anybody have any problems with this on any of their phones, whether it be the iPhone 17 or older? Hope you updated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's that. And I just want to make sure I mention that they also released the updates for watchOS 26.0.2 and then visionOS we talked about, and tvOS 26.0.1. Just software bugs and fixes. Important to get that updated right away. I've noticed on the Apple Watch, it does seem to update a lot faster. Has anybody experienced that? Because I just did 26.0.2, but I think, Jeff, you always have a problem where it takes forever on your watch, right?
Well, okay. To be fair, I'm still rocking an Apple Watch Series 8 because when I was ready to upgrade, I didn't want to lose the oxygen sensor features. So if you have an older but still supported Apple Watch model, it can be stupid long with these updates, like over an hour, 2 hours, not unreasonable.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just like ridiculous long.
Yep.
I've been finding that I do it overnight. So then when I run it, let it sit, don't plug it in, don't put it on the charger, because obviously you have to do that if you want to update it. And I just let it sit on my nightstand and let it update overnight. And that's good because it's usually you should be sleeping 8 hours, right? Then it's updated by the time you wake up the next morning. So I've been kind of doing that now instead of just sitting and waiting, because it won't update.
That's a good way to do it.
You could download it and then just let it sit, and then once you plug it in, it'll start. So anybody else have any other bad experiences with any of their updates?
No bad experiences at all. But especially for the watch, I did notice, and surprisingly more so than with the phone, the updates really did burn a fair amount of battery for about the first 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
I mean, it was a noticeable drop compared to what it usually is. And so, but then it leveled out and hasn't been an issue since. So Dave, for that reason, I really like your overnight update idea.
Yeah.
Because that gives the update a chance to settle in, do whatever it needs to do while it's on a charger.
Yep.
And then hopefully you won't even notice it like I did.
Yep. Did tvOS on the Apple iTV didn't much do anything. That update went pretty smoothly for the most part. One of the other things that we will also talk about is in beta, iOS 26.1 did add a new swipe gesture in Notes. For those of you who use Apple Notes, iOS 26.1 is going to have this new feature called the new swipe gesture. It's for power users. Currently in beta testing, of course. What Apple did do is they updated the standard text editing menu that appears when you select text in Notes and certain other apps. The edit menu used to swipe left to reveal more options, but you would sometimes need to swipe multiple times to get to the editing you want. That editing was streamlined in iOS 26 to consolidate most of those options. So they've done some improvements on here. So what's going to happen is it matches the muscle memory the users already have built in for swiping left, and it's perfect for one-handed use when the right-facing arrow is out of reach. So they're doing some updates with Apple Notes. I know not all of you here are Apple Notes user. I use it all the time. But anybody who's on beta, have you tried that at all?
No, but it will be, because that sounds smart as heck.
Yeah.
I just tried it as you were talking about the story, and it doesn't, and maybe I wasn't paying attention to begin with, it doesn't give me any more options when I swipe left than what I already, well, it has 3 options. That is what I've got. So maybe that's more than it was before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add to that? All right.
Glad to see they did it.
Yeah. And then we talked about there was an iMessage activation issue. I'll mention that again here real quick for iOS 26. So there was a bug when you were actually doing when you activated your eSIM, then the iMessages wouldn't activate. So you've had to go through and it looks like some of them have had to work with the carrier to help them remove the eSIM and then add it back again in order to get it to update. This happened in a small number of user complaints that were out there, but just be aware of that when you did the update, because I know there's probably many of you out there still that have not done the update just yet. So that's fine. A lot of people just like to wait for a little bit, let all the bugs iron out before you do it. So that is that with iOS and iPadOS. They did release, let's go to Mac this week, in touch with Mac. They did release the Mac OS Tahoe 26.0.1, which is with an M3 Ultra bug fix. It was the first update for Tahoe this month, and according to their release notes, it addresses a bug that was preventing Mac Studio machines with an M3 Ultra chip from being upgraded to Mac OS Tahoe. Whoops. A failed hardware check was causing Mac OS Tahoe installation attempts to be aborted, with Mac Studio users ultimately stuck on Sequoia. Ooh, that's even worse. So those users who were unable to install Mac OS Tahoe can now do that. I don't know if that affected you with your studio, Marty, because I think you have the M2, right?
Yeah, I have the latest.
M3.
M3.
That's what this one is. Yeah. So just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing really. Anybody have any experiences with Mac this week that they've been has everybody upgraded the Tahoe yet? Chuck, you still holding back, I assume?
Yeah, pardon me, I'm still holding back, mainly because of the video and audio stuff.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what I'm hearing from the folks who specialize in that if that's a heavy part of your workload, it might be a good idea to wait. Okay. So I did install it though, and have had very limited time to play with it on a secondary Mac, and really like what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, me too.
But not getting a chance to work on it.
No. Jeff, you've had
Dave,
problems, I know.
I have. Yeah. The most recent update, so I guess it'd be 26.0.1, hasn't really fixed the audio issues, but they seem less annoying. So I'm not sure if that means something's fixed or if I'm just getting used to the problems. But I do have a PSA. So I have been talking about how I'm having to reboot my computer every day or two, and how apps are just going runaway with memory, and the system pauses them, and I have to force quit. Turns out there's a pattern here, and it's Electron apps. So there's a problem where Electron apps are not using the window rendering, and I'm really simplifying this here, but short version, they're doing their own thing for part of window rendering, and it's triggering in macOS Big Lakes a window redraw thing that just keeps spawning and spawning and spawning. And so it's making some people's computers get very sluggish, which I have experienced. It's also causing a problem where, because for each app, excuse me, it's spawning multiple versions of this window render thing, that it's eating all your RAM. This is an issue that has to be fixed in the Electron apps because it's not a Mac OS issue. It's a custom window thing that didn't need to be done in Electron, but that's the way Electron does it. And
Right.
I have a link that I will put in your show notes for you.
All right, great.
Yeah, which the ironic part is most of them are using Electron because they didn't want to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's surprising. When I looked at it, it was like, oh yeah, every app that I'm having a problem with is an Electron app.
I was prepared to say I didn't have a problem, but I have the Elgato face cam, and it comes with a windowed thing that I can see where my screen is and reposition all my trees and things like that. And it is lagging like crazy and max headrooming all over the place. And so maybe that's it.
That's probably it. The article that I will have a link for in the show notes also includes a link to a GitHub project that you can run to see what apps you have that are Electron that have not been updated yet. And it also has information on how you can add in like a little script that forces your Mac to not do part of its window rendering thing, so that you're not having an Electron conflict.
There you go. All right,
Jeff, do you
thanks.
mind calling a spade and naming which Electron apps you're having issues with?
Sure. Very commonly used apps like Slack and Discord, and hold on, let me just take a look here.
Maybe?
Trello. Those are the ones that are running right now. But yeah, and I do have problems with Zoom as well. I don't know if Zoom is an Electron app.
What about
But
1Password?
just right off the top of my head, stuff that I'm running right this minute that I know is Electron. There you go. And there are
Thank you.
problems.
Thank you.
Now, what about 1Password?
1Password, I am not having trouble with 1Password.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your insights. And that's it for In Touch with Mac. Let's go on to some other topics here. We'll, like I said, like Jeff said, we'll have those in the show notes, what he just described. One of the new features that's in iOS 26, and I kind of forgot when we read about this, and I started noticing because I've been getting a few packages lately. When you go into the Wallet app, and it actually is showing at the top there your shipping, anything that's being shipped to you, you'd be able to go into your orders, and it's not just orders that has been purchased through through using your Apple Card or anything like that. It's using Apple Intelligence, and it's now scanning your emails to track what orders come through. Now, I don't know how creepy if that is. Would you want that to be happening? But I don't mind it that much. But basically, it is turned on, and then I was able to go in here and say, account details and then go into there. It'll actually show the items that are coming. Yeah, I've already got that set up for FedEx and UPS in themselves that whenever something's shipped, as well as the Postal Service. I get the summary every day to see what mail's coming. So I can see it that way too. But nice new feature that's now added in the Wallet app that you can see what's coming, and you don't have to go to those emails every day or into those apps to find them. So yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
I don't think we need to worry about this one being creepy because
Okay.
to the best of my knowledge, this is all being processed on device.
Right.
So it's not like your emails are being scanned and information is being sent to a cloud server somewhere, processed and being sent back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
I do have a lot of experience with this feature.
Okay.
The good news, it is very, very good at detecting orders. Anytime there was any kind of order that was about to be delivered, it told me about it. The bad news is it is terrible with actual statuses.
Okay.
It would tell me things were delivered that I literally just ordered.
Hmm.
I mean, it'll give you eventually get it right, but it even in the I mean, it's been on since the beta, but even in the actual releases, the inaccuracy rate is still too high. Granted, it does a lot better with the delivery services, like UPS, FedEx, that type of thing, than it does, Walmart delivery or Amazon or the food delivery services. But once Apple gets this perfected, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Anybody else have tried this at all?
I did try it.
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Jill.
I was just saying I like it, and particularly because we just live in a world where we're ordering stuff now. It's kind of become a permanent part of our society,
Yeah.
and it gets complicated to track it. Also, I think it did it. I've been really impressed with it.
Yep.
I was using deliveries for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
the standalone app, and that did as good a job of tracking stuff as what I found the UPS or FedEx app. And I get really frustrated with going on those apps and come on, you know where the package is. You can give me a little more granularity than just it left this morning. But I've switched to Parcel, and I use that app now. Deliveries apparently had some problems. I was just looking that up in the last couple of years where people were not allowing them to use the service and stuff like that. But there was a reason I switched from deliveries to Parcel. And I still have to put all the information in. It generally redirects it as soon as I put the number in. It tells me, yeah, this is a FedEx package, etc. But that's sort of the one-stop place for me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
This looks intriguing if we can get rid of the errors that Ben is saying he's having.
Yep, agreed. Anybody else? All right. Next thing I wanted to mention here is iOS 26 did add 7 brand new iPhone ringtones. I'm excited. Not just listening to the same default all the time, right? And the nice thing about too is you actually can bring some ringtones in so much easier. The old days where you had to go put it in iTunes and you had to recreate the song and then export it and put it in there. So now they've got 7 new songs, including Buoyant, Dreamer, Pond, Pop, Reflective, and Surge. There's a link in the show notes that has a video of playing the sounds. So cool to see that Apple's actually doing this and adding these ringtones to make things a little more fun. I always say I used to use the same dull ringtone. I've never changed it. I always the default one for so many years. Anybody have taken a look at any of these ringtones, or do you change your ringtone?
Yeah, mine has been the actual classic phone forever because, well,
Yeah.
I grew up in the 20th century.
I have the most gigantic collection of 80s musics and video games ringtones. And so I have never looked at what comes with the phone. I just walk like an Egyptian.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
If it's not Thunderstruck, then it ain't my phone ringing.
Little
There you
ACDC.
go. Yeah, I converted the Futurama theme song into a ringtone.
Yeah.
And every now and then my phone will ring when I'm out in public, and someone will realize what they're hearing, and it makes them happy.
Yep.
And I haven't. I admire you guys. I haven't played with bringing in my own ringtones for a long, long time, but I usually assign certain people different ringtones so that I know it without even looking who's calling, and that I find that's like super useful. So I'm kind of excited to I have Dave. I sort of missed this one, so I'm kind of anxious to see just what they sound like,
Yeah.
and it means even more people can get custom ringtones.
Chuck, is
I
it
used
true
to-
that when I call you,
Da,
the
da, da,
ringtone for me is
da.
"Do not answer, do not answer, do not answer."
Or, da,
I
da,
used
da,
to
da,
have,
da, da, da.
I used to have a Brick House, the beginning of it, as a ringtone, and it went off in a faculty meeting,
Oh gosh.
and everybody started bobbing their head back and forth to the ringtone.
That's glorious.
Oh my God, that's funny. Well, glad I was able to show you some new things to check out. This topic was interesting. The Ford CEO has provided an update about CarPlay Ultra. As far as I'm concerned, I think Ultra is kind of a bomb here. He was on the latest episode of The Verge's Decoder podcast, and it was CEO Jim Farley was talking with actually Joanna Stern on this podcast, The Verge's Decoder podcast, and the automaker does not entirely like Apple's current implementation of its CarPlay Ultra software system for vehicles. We don't like the execution in round one of Ultra, but we're very committed to Apple. Farley had said that he had talked to Apple CEO Tim Cook many times about this. Their concern was it implied that Ford is currently passing on CarPlay Ultra because it would result in Apple having control of the entire experience inside the vehicle. It's worth noting that CarPlay Ultra is a optional experience, with the system only taking over the instrument cluster and other dashboard screens when an iPhone 12 or later is running iOS 18.5 or later wirelessly in the vehicle. But in addition, Farley had said that it was important that Ford's entertainment system of choice integrates with its advanced driver assistance system. So as we know, it was announced a while ago, only one car is currently evident is Alfa Romeo, the Aston Martins, in the U.S. and Canada. So you're pretty limited of anybody having any experiences with. So, Jeff, what do you think on this?
I think the key thing here is Ford saying that Apple would have complete control over the user experience in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not something car makers want.
Nope.
And the notion that their system is going to be super critical for drivers as they're flying down the highway, it's okay, sure, but there's no reason why they can't integrate their ADAS system, which is redundant. That's like saying ATM machine. Anyhow, why they can't integrate their system into CarPlay effectively, it's that they don't want to. They don't want to give up control of their user interface, and that's exactly what CarPlay Ultra does. It takes that control.
Yep.
Yeah,
Quite bad.
this is a completely different situation than the GM situation, where the GM just basically wants to saddle everybody with an Android system.
Yep.
This is one of those things where Apple is trying to basically shove their solution and their solution only down the throats of people who have total control. Yeah, Apple is going to have to meet these car makers in the middle if they want any kind of adoption for CarPlay Ultra. There's this way isn't going to work.
Yep.
It's interesting to me because I think that car manufacturers are real terrible at interfaces. And I
Yes.
think that they would like to turn it over to someone whose whole job it is to make interfaces. And I have my own. I got the Subaru, I got the Outback, and so now I'm looking at my map, and my friend wants to listen to XM. So she pulls us all out of the system. She's sitting there flipping around stations in there, and I'm like, put the map back, put the map back. And so suddenly we're going through 15 menus to get back to CarPlay again. And it's just going to improve the user experience of people who want to use CarPlay. You don't have to use this. You can use the car's interface,
Right.
So I think having that choice, but I also wonder, I don't know what the technical debt is to get involved in this. And so I don't know how complicated it is for a car system to integrate with it, but it's brand new, and I'm hoping that more cars will sign on, particularly if we start asking our car manufacturers if they're going to. But
Yep.
I
Anybody
want
else?
it, and I'm sad I don't have it.
Chuck, you have any thoughts?
Yeah. I think Jeff hit it on the head. They just don't want to.
No.
They don't want to give up control. They feel like their interfaces are a differentiating part of their vehicles. They aren't willing to acknowledge that vehicles seem to be moving unless you're a real car person. Where's Webb Bixby?
Mhm.
If you're a real car person,
Mhm.
there are still differentiations, but otherwise, a lot of these vehicles are just becoming a commodity. I mean, think about the mainstream Hondas versus, and I love Honda because of the reliability, but the mainstream Hondas versus the mainstream Toyotas versus the mainstream Nissans. I guess if you are a car person, you can tell the difference, but really, and yet the car manufacturers continue to delude themselves into believing that theirs is unique and the best.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of trying to sell you on the honest to God differentiators that they could do, they're trying to sell you that this is a better driving experience. And I don't need a better driving experience. I just want to get from here to there. But on the other hand, to Jill's point, it is a better driving experience if you don't have to go through 25 menus.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and we're now, and I know we're in the echo chamber, right? But we all are familiar with apps that we can use while on the road. And we want access to those apps. We prefer voice control, but we want to access maps, directions, answer texts, and I'm blanking on what else, but a lot of other things. And it's only going to get more so. And the more they resist it, the more that I think they're going to lose. Unfortunately, I tend to agree with Ben too. I think Apple's going to have to give a little bit on this because I think the car manufacturers are just too stuck in their ways and they're fighting the future. They refuse to acknowledge what we want.
Marty, you want to say anything?
No, not really. It's been covered. I have turned into a great appreciator of CarPlay in terms of my car, because the previous car I had, there was no way to do the interface with, and now I just love it. And it's interesting to have passengers who are interacting with the screen or know how to interact with the screen, because it's very simple interface for them to move around and choose things with. So
I was just thinking that they got to consider too that the more we're sitting there and screwing around with the iPads in our car, the less we're driving. And so it's a safety, feature as well, because if we can have everything where we need it to be and we can customize it to how we want it to look, we're going to be better drivers because we're not playing around with menus all the time.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's notable that, they aren't saying they're getting rid of CarPlay. They're just not liking the new version of it.
Yeah. This is
And-
Ultra, not CarPlay standards.
Well, regular CarPlay is, at least for now, that compromise you were talking about, because it gives people the CarPlay thing while the car manufacturer gets to maintain their interface as well.
Yep. All right. Let's move on here. Another topic I wanted to hit here real quick is best privacy screen protectors for an iPhone 17 Pro Max. Are you worried about prying eyes and invading your privacy? That's where a privacy screen can come into play. I've not ever known to really review some of these since many of you use screen protectors in themselves, but I've seen people before that I've been by and says, oh, they're showing me their phones like, oh wait, I gotta look right at it because you got your screen protector on, or you got your privacy screen on, because it's the same thing with putting a privacy screen on our displays on your laptops or monitors. It's just, God, this thing. So especially when you don't have real good eyes, it gets really dim, and I'd rather it be open. But I understand, especially when you're traveling on a plane and prying eyes are looking over at over your shoulder, especially at laptops. But there were some cool ones here that was mentioned on this article here. So there's a couple of them here. This is the Ultra Glass Top 9H Armor. It's for the 17 Pro Max, and it does takes privacy and durability to a whole new level. This advanced 25-degree anti-spy technology is going to keep your screen visible only to you, and it's got some different ones. This one's like $31, and it looks like they're all sold on Amazon, so that's a good thing. This one I would probably trust is a Spigen. I bought a Spigen case. This is also a tempered glass screen protector as well as with privacy. That one's $22. There's another one all on 3-pack of the privacy screen protector. So they all have different types of protection, and as far as being visible. And there's a number of them in here listed. I can go through all of them, but really, the conclusion is it really can be protecting you from your screen and the data safety at the same time. So interesting to see. Chuck, have you ever tried one of these on your phone?
I tried one a long time ago, and it absolutely made the whole experience directional.
Yeah.
But you're right. You had to put it right. You had to look square at your phone to see it. And it became too much hassle.
Yeah.
After about 2 days, it's like, no, I don't have anything on my phone that's that private or that I'm that worried about. And so, if I could have a little bit, and I'm sure that, to be fair about it, I'm sure that they've come a long way.
Right.
And so it depends probably on which one you buy and exactly how much they block the off-axis reading. But again, if you have the need, go for it.
Yep.
I'm more interested in trying to protect my screen from my stupidity than I am from prying eyes.
Great. Ben, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I have used similar products before. If you are looking just to have privacy on your phone, these do that. That said, I think they also degrade your phone experience in every other single way.
Okay. Jill, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jill.
Well, I was gonna say I worked for a company that worked for hospitals, and so our IT gave us them and put them on our computers, and they were dim. They made me sick to my motion sick. I couldn't do it, and we basically just all decided we were never going to look at PHI or look at patient records when we were at a place where someone could look behind us. So we just stopped. And, we just promised ourselves we would never do that. And I took it off. And then when I got back to the office, I pretended to dramatically take it off my laptop because we hated them so much. And so I don't know if anyone has a solution to that. And maybe these are the answer to it, but they have been in the past really awful. But also, that being said, I sat behind someone who worked for a local clothing company who was working on their men underwear campaign ads, which are always funny, by the way. And I watched the whole way to California. Her, you know what I'm talking about, but I watched the whole way her working on the ads for the underwear, and it made me laugh the whole way to California. So I guess it's necessary, but really difficult.
Jeff, you had
go
ahead, Marty. I forgot. Go ahead.
I was going to ask the question: how out of this group, who looks at other phones? Because this might be a problem. This might be a solution to. Obviously, Jill does, but this might be a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. I mean, if I see somebody using a phone, I'll look over and see, oh, they're using an iPhone 14 or they're using an Android or that kind of curiosity. But how much peeking on other people's phones do people really do?
Good
And
question.
is this sort of a device that's marketed that probably does serve some purpose for some folks, but marketing to mass marketing, I mean, if you're not doing patient records, who cares what your solitaire score is?
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, you made a good point in our private chat. Go ahead and tell people what you said.
Oh, sure. So I was taught long ago in privacy and security circles that if you have information that you're bringing up on your device screen that's sensitive, critical enough that no one else should be seeing it, then don't have that information visible in any public setting. You don't use a tool like this so you can keep doing that. You do the right thing and not show the information.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's the rule I've lived by. And I can see though where for some people this will give them a uh, a sense of security that for whatever reason they might need. Uh, Actually, now that I think about it, one place where I could see this being useful, if you're willing to give up the quality of your screen, is if say you're a woman and you want to use your phone for something when you're in a bar and you want to make sure that there's no creepy dudes that are trying to get information off your phone screen while you're in a public place like that.
Right.
The better solution to that would be don't be a frickin' creep. So we don't need things like this.
Right.
But that's not the world we live in.
No. Anybody else?
But it does. Yeah, I'm just going to throw this in, because I've also seen these, and I played with one on my iPad, but I've seen them for laptops too, and that almost makes a lot more sense because you're more likely, I think, to be doing something potentially sensitive on a laptop, and your
Don't do it in
laptop is
public.
well, Jeff, that, but also, I mean, look, my phone is in my hand, right? And, it's going every different way.
Mhm.
If I've got my laptop or my iPad, it's the iPad might be moving around if I don't have it on a stand, but the laptop's not going anywhere. It's I've probably set the angle, and as long as I adjust it right, I'll be able to see, and maybe the person in the airline seat beside me won't. So I agree with you. I think it's interesting that they brought this up as a phone question as opposed to just a device question.
Right.
Because I think it really does depend on the device as to whether this makes economic sense or practical sense. And your comment about giving up the screen quality, that's big because
Yeah, it is.
I have yet to see any of these that don't compromise these beautiful screens to some degree
It does.
for what they deliver.
Mhm. Jill, you talked about watching the underwear ad thing being created. Okay, that person, in my opinion, was failing critically at their job because what they're working on is proprietary, sensitive company information that is no one's business until it's released publicly.
Yep.
So they're sitting there working on their Fruit of the Loom thing, and I'm behind them on the plane, and I work for Underoos, and I'm watching everything they do, and I'm taking notes, and I have just stolen all of this proprietary information that I'm going to go right back to the Underoos office with. It's,
I wanna say in my
we're
def-
talking underwear ads, but the point stands. It's proprietary information.
Where is this
They
going?
shouldn't have had that out visible on a plane.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
I have to say, in my defense, I'm really ADHD, and so if I see a screen, I'm like, oh, squirrel, squirrel. So I mean, and then before I can register, like, don't look at people's computers. My brain is already like,
Yeah.
wow, look at that.
Okay, so when I start my computer espionage, corporate espionage company, I'm
Yeah.
hiring you. You're going to be one of my top agents.
There
Yeah.
you go. Eric, you haven't said anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you go to buy a screen protector, the first option they give you is, do you want to pay for a privacy screen? And I think they do it because frequently you can sell two, one to get the privacy one, and then the second one to rip it off to put a regular one on, because you can't edit images. You can't get
No.
any work done, and you're going to go back for a replacement screen, because
Yeah.
if you don't already know you need a privacy screen for some reason, you don't need it. And even if you think you need it, you probably don't, or shouldn't, as Jeff said, shouldn't be using your machine at that point. You know, really voiceover and AirPods maybe are a better solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben, go ahead and add your comment that you put a chat before, and we'll wrap up with this one.
Yeah, there is one huge difference between the privacy screen protectors on laptops and phones. The laptop ones are magnetic and removable.
Right.
The phone ones are designed to be permanent, well, until replaced.
Agreed. All right, let's go on to the news for this week. The new iPhones see stronger than expected demand, with one exception. It's been 2 weeks since the 17 series had launched. Analysts from investment banking firm Morgan Stanley said demand for the device has been modestly stronger than was originally expected, based on a combination of existing shipping estimates on Apple's online store and information it gathered from Apple's supply chain. There's been strong early demand for the iPhone 17, 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, according to the analysts. But however, the ultra-thin iPhone Air has faced relative weakness in its demand so far. The supply chain checks suggest that the 17 build increased and is likely imminent. And in a research note today, in the second half of 2025, Apple's supply chain might increase production of the new iPhones to more than 90 million units, up from 84 to 86 in its current month. It's currently, I should say. And the note says, so they're targeting the stock to be close to $300 a share, which is, I'll be happy about that. So, but are we surprised about the iPhone Air? They were putting so much hype about it. Marty, you have an iPhone Air. What do you think was worth your investment?
Yeah, it was, and
Okay.
it's my working phone now.
Oh.
When I read the article, there are a couple of factors, because I sat in an AT&T store for 2 hours waiting for service to get a line put actually on my iPhone Air. I wanted a separate line.
Mhm.
And people came in and they were coming in like crazy because they wanted to get that. We'll take any phone you have and you can get a new iPhone 17 or iPhone 17 Pro, as a trade-in.
Right.
So if you look at a lot of the phone service deals, they involve iPhone 17 Pro or sometimes iPhone 17 Pro Max. They don't involve the Air.
Right.
So that's one pressure on the market that increases the sales. The other is that I read something like this earlier this week, that there's a big demand in China for those models as they come out. And so that's being pulled in that direction. Yeah, this sort of feels like, did Apple stop making money? Just wondering, because, the article is written like there's a deficit going on there. And I think they're continuing to make money. And, people don't talk about the Air until they have it in their hands.
Right.
They've had an iPhone 14 Pro Max, or they've had an 15 Pro Max or a 16 Pro Max. They know what that feels like.
Right.
That's a comfortable size and model. They don't know what a Air is like until they go into the store and put it in their hands.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, what do you think of this?
I think articles like this fall in the same class of articles that say Vision Pro is a failure, because they just don't get what's happening. And I'm not being an Apple apologist here. First, Marty nailed it with the deals from the carriers are for the 17 and 17 Pro, and so if you generalize here, if you look at like a graph of sales for 17 and 17 Pro, it's like plateau, When they come out, that's the high point, and then you'll have a slow decline through the rest of the life cycle of the product. We have a brand new phone here, and Marty nailed it once again. When you get the phone in your hand, it's like, holy forking shirt balls. And that was my experience when I picked up an iPhone Air. That's an amazing piece of hardware. The graph for sales for that, I believe, starts lower than the high point for the 17 and 17 Pro, and it's going to be doing this steady increase over time as more people get to see them in the wild. They get to see them in Apple stores. And this is a phone that I believe when people really get to see it, they will covet this phone.
Yep. Chuck, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny, Dave, that you brought this up because I just talked to someone yesterday in a meeting, and they were anxious to tell me just how fantastic their new iPhone Air was and how much they loved it, and now how big and clunky their old iPhone feels. Now, I know this individual, okay? They're not overly concerned with the photographs, the camera capabilities. They're probably not overly concerned with the power part of it. They are using it as a phone and for email and for some limited web surfing and, ordering an Uber and, those kind of business-oriented things. I'd be shocked to find out that they're trying any of the large language models on them. So this seemed like a really perfect phone for this individual, and that's the way that they were couching it to me. So I think we're right back to it. The echo chamber, all of us, we want the power and we want all the features. A lot of people don't feel that they quiet. A lot of people don't feel that they that they need that. And so, I think this is I think Jeff had it right. You got to go and put it in your hand. I have not yet, by the way. So I'm talking through my hat a little bit, but I think you got to go and put it in your hand and find out just how great it is.
Yep. Ben, you have some thoughts?
I will parrot Jason Snell here a little bit. Look, this is getting tomorrow's iPhone today.
Right.
There are certain technological limitations that make certain aspects of this phone not as good as the Pro or the regular. That said, this is the ultra thin iPhone that Johnny Ive wishes he could make. It's available. It won't bend. And this is going to be the basis for the next generation of iPhones for the next decade to come.
Yeah, probably. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Well, I was gonna say I was in the store, picking up my phone, and someone said, "I really want one of those Airs, but I want to see how many of them snap in half first." And I thought that's interesting that he wanted it. He just wouldn't buy it until maybe next year because he wanted to see if there was a problem with it. So that might be some of it too.
Yeah, could be. All right, let's move on. A couple other stories here. The iPhone 11 and the Apple Watch Series 3 is now, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max is joining Apple's vintage products list. They grow up fast. It was it seems like yesterday had either one of those models, so they are to the vintage list. So the full list of products go all the way down from all the three models on the watch, and only 11 Pro Max. Interestingly enough, they haven't put the 11 Pro in there just yet. So just a PSA to know that those are now vintage. Might want to consider upgrading because they're a little getting old in the tooth there. T-Mobile has now satellite service that now works with many popular apps. They're expanding their satellite. It's called the T-Satellites with Starlink service, adding satellite data connections to multiple popular apps. This means T-Mobile customers who don't have a Wi-Fi or cellular connection will be able to use the Starlink satellite connection to access these supported apps. Apps that will work over T-Mobile satellite connections includes Google Maps, All Trails, AccuWeather, CalTopo, X and WhatsApp, text, voice, and video chat, Onyx, and then T-Life, which is their app that they use for all their services. T-Mobile subscribers with access to T-Satellite will see the satellite connection kick in whenever cellular or Wi-Fi connectivity is not available, offering tailored critical content instead of full data-heavy experiences. It works on iPhones, but it can be used alongside the native satellite connection on the iPhone 14 and later. It's included in T-Mobile's Experience Beyond and Go 5G plans, and T-Mobile customers who with other plans can get it for $10 a month. So you can also subscribe it as a standalone if you want to get it for $10 a month who do not have T-Mobile. So you can get it standalone too. So T-Mobile's getting pretty aggressive with the satellite. What do you think, Jeff?
I think that's no surprise because the carriers need to do things to differentiate themselves from each other. And this definitely does that. However, I think this highlights where the real problems are. Or real problems are. One of those problems is that when the satellite thing kicks in, it switches to sending you the critical information instead of the full data heavy experience. Okay, website designers and companies that rely on their websites, maybe you should be thinking about what information, how much data you need to pump through a website just to show me 2 paragraphs of content. And maybe you should be tailoring your websites so that they're pushing out the information we need as opposed to all of this superfluous heavy data that comes in as overhead.
Mm-hmm. Ben, your thoughts?
T-Mobile has always been great on the network connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, they are miles ahead pretty much everybody else in the US right now. They were the first and I think only ones to really get it on with those SpaceX satellites. Yeah, this is just another example of satellite connectivity kind of saving your bacon if you're out in the middle of nowhere with no cellular.
Exactly. Marty?
Yeah, I actually, when I mentioned before, I was trying to put a new line on my phone, and I thought, after sitting in the AT&T store, I said maybe I'll just go across the street and get T-Mobile put on it, and then looked at the pricing. And adding an additional line on my family group was much cheaper, so I sat there for another hour.
Yep.
The article is interesting, but the comments in the article are even more interesting, and they bring up something that Jeff said. What is the pathway for an app to be able to be on there? Are there limits in terms of data? What is, and what is this going to cost? Can I add it onto my family plan, my 4 lines on my family plan? So a lot more questions from this article arise than
Yep.
it answers, at least for folks who are T-Mobile users. And I was a T-Mobile user a long time ago until the iPhone came out.
Okay. Chuck, do you have any thoughts?
No, I want to echo Jeff. I think Jeff hit it on the head. It's the satellite connectivity. You got to figure out what you really need it for, and the folks that are providing the data to come through that satellite. And until we get even more bandwidth, which we know will come, the compression algorithms will get better, and all of that. But for right now, yeah, I think it's more than it's more what Ben said. It's more for saving your life than getting the cup
Right.
scores.
In Ben's case, those might be the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Possibly.
I have to know. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, I found it interesting that it said users that don't have a T-Mobile account can subscribe as a standalone service. So that was kind of nice. I don't know if you can do it short term, for over a summer or something, or for a particular trip, but that was the most useful part I got out of it.
Okay.
So I almost want to try it.
Yeah. Oh, well, only when you're somewhere but you don't have service. That's about the only way you can do it. But yes, should be interesting.
I was going to say,
go
because
ahead,
I
Jill.
go camp. Well, I just want to say, because I go camping places that
Right.
have no internet all the time, frequently.
Right.
And it's not just emergency. I fell off a mountain. It is sometimes that storm looks real nasty. How bad is it? Should I,
Yeah.
pull up the tent, And so I used to, way back in the day, back when we were bad cellular data, had a folder filled with thin apps. The best radar that loads on low data. The best this that
Right.
loads on low, a news feed that loads on low data. And I used to have to do that because cellular in the countryside was so bad. And I
Right.
just think what Chuck said is right. But I like the idea of being able to pull up some things when I'm in the country.
Sure.
Oh, and living in the driftless region, falling off a mountain is actually a possibility.
Right.
That's right. All right. A couple more mentions of stories here real quick before we wrap up. Apple did release the Apple TV Plus highly anticipated trailer for the upcoming documentary event, Mr. Scorsese, which premieres globally on Friday, October 17th. It's from award-winning filmmaker Rebecca Miller. She does a 5-part cinematic portrait of the iconic director, producer, and writer Martin Scorsese. It was just unveiled, so check that out. Pretty remarkable man, and some amazing movies he's released over the many, many years. Also, Apple has extended a deal to keep Peanuts in their studios until 2030. So you'll be watching Charlie Brown Christmas and all the other Charlie Brown and Snoopy. All the gang will be there for many years to come, at least the next 5 years. So that was good news. And then finally, this is from Cord Cutters News. I was getting so annoyed about the fact that because I watched a lot of stuff on NBC, that they'd have this scroll bar across the top of the screen saying, you got to go to this website to start getting people to tell YouTube TV they better sign the agreement or we're pulling your channels. That was going on for the last week. So, of course, in
That's annoying.
Oh, it was very annoying. So in the late hours, they finally came to a long-term agreement to keep all of the NBC channels from NBC Universal and Google have just now a comprehensive multi-year distribution agreements to broaden access and diverse array of the content for millions of viewers worldwide. It came from a dispute really that was from the NBC's own channels that it was in jeopardy being dropped because they didn't want they didn't want to pay what that YouTube wanted, but they have to negotiate. So they had a short-term agreement that they had agreed on earlier this week, and then now they've finally came up with a long-term agreement. I think the biggest thing was what YouTube TV wasn't too excited about is the fact that if you're a subscriber to Peacock, you can get all those channels if you have the live part of it too. So I'm kind of redundant because I have that, but I like the commercial-free product and I pay a little extra for that. So it is kind of nice to watch shows and not have to fast forward those commercials when I record them on YouTube TV. So, but it's good to see that they signed because there's a lot of great TV on NBC and a lot of good networks to watch a lot of their shows. So, anybody have any comments on that before we wrap up? Go ahead, Ben.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, even the digital live TV services like YouTube TV are kind of in their waning days.
Yeah.
So I would expect this to be the last contract they sign.
Probably. I think that streaming
I was just thinking
is
the
changing.
opposite. We're gonna have this fight for a long time. We had this with Charter. Charter put a banner under their DVR 10 years ago saying you should tell Paramount to sign a deal with us. So it's been going on for a really long time.
Yeah. So all right. Well, with that was a great show this week. Really appreciate everybody being here. But let's go ahead and wrap up. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Mastodon. It's at InTouchWithIOS. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and you're notified when we are live streaming. streaming, which is Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/intouchwithios. You can watch the live stream like we have been doing each week, and which is saved out there. You can watch it after the fact, as well as you can listen to past shows. And we also have In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard. You can check that out. Where many of the topics we discuss are flipped in that magazine. The links is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, or better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there on the sites. Also, thank you for Ecamm Live for the production of the show. I'm really having a great time using that tool, and we're having great success with it. So thank you, Ecamm. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65. And I'm going to go in the reverse here. Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, thank you for letting me join in. People can find me on social media as Jay Gamet, and I'm active mostly on Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Pixel Fed. Also, fair warning, it's Inktober, so I'm doing a ridiculous drawing every single day this month. Then for shows, Chuck lets me join in on Mac Voices Live on Tuesdays. And here I am, Dave, thank you, for In Touch with iOS on Thursdays, the British Tech Network, the Big Show and the Mac Show. Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch.
Thank you, Jeff. Chuck Joyner, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. Where can people find you?
Thank you, Dave, as always. MacVoices.com is where you'll find a lot of interesting material. I'm going to do a little quick shameless plug. We did a 3-part interview with Joe Kissel this week about his new book, Take Control of Tahoe. And in that interview, he told us about a feature that I knew was there, but an aspect of it I didn't know was there. And while we were doing the show live, he let me know that the beta version of the new Tahoe fixes the problem he was previously complaining about. So it's worth finding that out just or listening just for that.
Absolutely.
As has been said, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Mac Voices Live on YouTube, and on the socials, I'm at Chuck Joyner. Thanks as always, Dave.
Thank you, Chuck. And Eric Bolden, thank you for being here, and your bees buzzing behind you there. Where can people find you?
Staying just out of range of the bee. I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden@mas.to. Monday nights on Vision Profiles, getting my Vision OS bits in, and Tuesdays on Mac Voices, covering the Mac OS. And of course, here on Thursdays, I'm In Touch with iOS, getting the rest of the OSs and iOS and iPad OS and Mac and Vision, and kind of rounding out the week.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. Marty Jencius, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're feeling a little better. Your voice is cleared up a little bit, as well as celebrating a Cubs victory to move on to the playoffs. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Vision Profiles Monday nights, and anytime you can pick it up on YouTube. Monday nights at 9 p.m. with Eric and Dave and Daniel. That's the show that we've been doing for a while. Other shows you can find at thepodtalk.net, and a couple special announcements. I just pushed out the first episode of AI Productivity Workflow as a podcast, so you can look for that. And again, pardon my cold. And then I just finished editing Fade to Chat, so I will be pushing that out probably in the next 24 hours, and you'll be able to find Fade to Chat, cinema of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and the first show is about arsenic and old lace.
I'll look forward to watching that. Thank you, Marty. And Ben Roethig, thank you for being here. And we got to celebrate a big Cubs victory as well. Where can people find you?
Love the W.
Yes.
You can find me at Ben Roethig on social media. You can find my writings and ravings at roethigtech.com. On Tuesdays, when they don't have to work, you can find me on Mac Voices Live, Chuck Joyner. Sometimes on the British Tech Network, the Big and Mac shows with Jeff Gamet. and for the next week or so, having an ulcer because of the NLDS.
For those who don't know, that's a National League Division Series, which the Cubs and Brewers will be playing. Thank you, Ben. And last but certainly not least, Jill McKinley, it's always a pleasure having you here. Where can people find you?
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. You can look at startwithsmallsteps.com. I'm Jill from the North Woods. All my podcasts and videos are found under that. And I appreciate you watching.
No, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all of you listening, watching, being here on the live stream, and enjoying the shows. We enjoy doing it. Until next week, we will talk to you then. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon. Great show. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Fun.
I am going to say goodbye to the live stream. Goodbye.
Bye, live stream.
Bye, live stream.